G'day, I'm Pete Techman Coman here at Integrate 2024 in Sydney, and I'm joined by Cameron Lucas from MadisonAV. How you doing, Cameron?
I'm going okay. How about you?
Awesome. It's day 3, and we can see the finish line, so we're happy about that.
Yes.
It's been a big show. It's been very, very busy, and we're on the MadisonAV stand. Where else would we be? But we're in front of some very, very good cameras, which is the PTZ PTZ Optics cameras. And look, this is a really cool setup that you've got here. Obviously, all these cameras are all sitting on the network, but we've got a number of different cameras on display. What are the differences between these cameras?
Sure. As you can see, there's white ones and there's grey ones.
And that's it?
That's it. Thanks for coming.
But we've got different resolutions, I believe.
Yeah,
so
right.
The SE is, what's the resolution on that?
The SE is only a 1080p camera.
Yeah.
So this was an incremental upgrade off the previous generation.
Okay.
So same optics, similar hardware, but it added USB-C connectivity.
It's got USB-C connectivity?
Yeah.
Okay. I haven't seen that on a camera before.
Sure.
Yeah.
So it's condensed what was previously 2 models of the SDI or the USB.
Right.
They condensed it down to 1 SKU.
Right.
So that made life a little bit easier for everybody.
Okay.
And now it also comes with NDI.
Oh, perfect.
Whereas previously you had to buy
an upgrade,
NDI.
was it?
It was either an upgrade or you could buy it with the license already.
Got it. So it's a 1080p, NDI, USB-C,
yes,
right, and SDI.
Yes,
all
and
in
HDMI.
And HDMI. Okay, wow.
And obviously all IP because it's NDI.
Of course. Yeah. And then we move up to the one next to it, right? So this obviously it's got 4K on it, so we've got a high resolution. Has it got all the same features and connectors as the SE?
Yep. So same thing. That it's SDI, USB, HDMI, and NDI.
Okay. And so this is a 20 times zoom as well, right? And this is a 12, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. So they're the main differences between those.
Well, both of them are available in 12 and 20. There's also a 30 times option as well.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right. So
we just wanted to show the different ones.
Got it. Okay. Right. So they have 3 different zoom options. So 12, 20, and 30.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. And then we move up to the Link 4K, and I notice here that this is not using NDI.
It is not. You are correct. Yeah.
What are they using instead?
This is actually DanteAV.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And how have you, in your experience, like obviously NDI has been around for a while, it's very, very popular. We see a lot of camera manufacturers using it. This is fairly new, like the DanteAV. What's the uptake been on that?
So far, I think it's still starting to gain interest with us because the AMX, like the SVSI N2600 is starting to come on board with the AVH as well. That's probably where we're going to start to see some synergy for us. But realistically, it has been a little bit slow. People love Dante for audio, but I think the video is still like I'm not sure about this.
And you know what? I think that's got a lot to do. It's kind of similar to AVB, right? Where back in the day, everyone was talking about AVB, and I think they were just too slow to market, right? And then Dante came in and sort of did their thing, and then NDI is doing well. You know, has been well supported on the video side, and it just feels as though. And I said, I'm a big Dante fan. I love it for audio, but I haven't seen a huge take up in DanteAV. Not like NDI. Put it that way.
That's right. Yeah. NDI seems like it's really well adopted.
Yes.
Maybe it's one of those they got to market at the right time. People got on board with it. Yeah, I agree. So, but that's good that you've got that option. That's really good. And then with this camera over here, I've actually I've used this camera or deployed this camera before. So this is it's still got the Huddle Cam branding on it. That's right. Yeah.
But it is a PTZ Optics. Part of the PTZ Optics family.
It's part of the family. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And this is so. We've got obviously it's a PTZ camera, and then we've got another framing camera or lens down here, right? Yeah. So it's looking at the whole room?
Yep. Yeah. So that extra lens lets it do things like you can specify which parts of the room you want it to actually focus on. So you can specify what they call blocking zones to say, this is a section I'm not interested in. So if you're doing lecture capture with it, you can block out the audience and say, I don't want to track the audience. I'm not interested in those. The new Simple Track 3 also supports auto framing.
Okay.
Before we used to have two cameras. There was a framing one and a tracking one.
That's right. So,
yeah.
so this,
This is now one camera to replace those two.
Yes. No, I saw that. I remember that. So yeah, you could either just frame people or track people.
That's right.
And so now that's all in one camera, is it? So framing and tracking.
That's right.
Oh, that's good. That's handy.
Yeah.
And with the, how does the tracking work? What's it using to track?
It's a combination of motion and facial detection.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So it'll see the motion first.
Yes.
And then it will see a face and grab onto it, which actually brings us up a good point about tracking.
Yeah.
All of the other PTZ Optics cameras now support tracking.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, it's not just this one?
Not just that one, yeah. So that one is like more of your advanced tracking applications where you want to put the blocking zones and the like in. But with these ones, you know, if you're doing a lectern or something, you can sort of say, right, this is what I want, this is how I want to track people. In the latest release of firmware, you can even do things like do an offset present. So rather than just having the captured subject in the center of the frame, you can set them left or right.
Okay.
So for if it was just one of us here, you know, and we wanted to have it auto tracking, you could say, I want the presenter to be on the right of the frame if it was me, and then it's not going to, you know, block out the things that I'm trying to include in the shot.
And with the tracking, how do you initiate that tracking? Is there kind of like a zone that you set up and someone stands in that zone and it
so there's a few ways you can do it. So you can do things like set up a macro, like which would be called from either something like, you know, the Super Joy or your control system, which would say go to this preset and now start tracking. Right. Because you can. There's an option in the firmware that's been updated recently as well to say start tracking from where you are.
Oh, okay.
The older tracking setup was a start tracking and it went, okay, well, I'm going to go to a specific location and then start tracking from there. Yeah. Whereas now you can say, no, go to this location and track from there.
Whoever's in that frame.
Yeah, so now, like if you've got a stage set up where sometimes you might have a podium on the left, sometimes on the right, now you can say, right, we'll go to that preset and start tracking from that location as opposed to before it had to be locked off as just one. So it's more flexible. Yeah.
Wow, okay, that's cool. Yeah.
And it can also support framing as well. Unfortunately, because it's only a single lens, if other people come in and they can't see them, it's not going to start including.
It can only frame based on what it can actually see. And that's and that's why this secondary camera comes in, because it's a wide-angle lens. It's seeing the whole room. And
that's right.
Yeah, got it. Oh, actually, I didn't realise that these actually did tracking as well now. So that's really good. Obviously, with this setup here, you've got everything sitting on the network, so I'm guessing that... So you're actually, I just noticed, so you're actually mixing the DanteAV with the NDI, right? Off the one switch. This is all sitting on the same network.
It is, yeah. And then it's total convergence, it's total chaos. Okay.
No, that's awesome. And then you've got, obviously, you've got a connection over to your controller over here, so you could actually have someone sitting at this and switching cameras and controlling them at the same time.
That's right, yeah. So what we wanted to sort of, illustrate here was that you don't necessarily need anything other than a network switch and the cameras.
Yeah, it's so simple.
All PoE.
It's so simple.
The controller here has got a HDMI output on it, so you can use that as a confidence monitor for the operator. And it's PoE as well. So it's a really sort of lean kind of operation.
And you bring up a good point. I mean, no more power supplies up in the ceiling. You've got a single cable to all these cameras. And is it just standard PoE? So 15.4 watts? Yeah. Perfect. Amazing. And another camera that's kind of hidden up here, this is actually one of my favorite cameras, which is the PTZ Optics Studio Pro. Studio Pro. And that is really, really good for, people who have got who do maybe webinars or influencers.
Podcasting.
Like Mark the Bearded Tech Scan, he needs one of these cameras because he's an influencer. Tell me a bit more about that. Obviously I can see that we've got obviously it's PoE.
Yes.
USB?
Yes, it's USB-C, so it can also be powered by USB-C. So you can plug it directly into your
computer.
PC. So the idea is that it's meant to be a high-quality camera to replace an SLR for someone, like you said, an influencer or let's say a TikToker or whoever they want to be. And you can use just a single camera straight into your PC to do that. Without needing
and it's powering the camera at the same time. So once again, I don't have another power supply or anything else.
Exactly, And obviously it comes with a light.
I was going to say that. I can see that up there,
And the light's got adjustable white balance. It's got adjustable brightness. It's got a built-in microphone.
Okay.
It's kind of based on the old Z-Cam line.
All right.
So it does have like a motorized zoom lens in it, so it's a 12 times lens.
Right.
And it also has the ability you can run it in portrait mode. So there's a little switch and you can go straight to portrait.
That's cool. So all the TikTokers out there, they can flick the switch and off they go.
Exactly, yep. So you're native in portrait.
That is awesome.
Yeah, it's very nice.
What about, like you mentioned it comes with a microphone, like comes with a light, comes with a microphone.
Yeah.
What if I want to use an external microphone? I can see that is somewhat an external microphone. Is that, can I plug another mic in there?
Probably the easiest way to do it is probably plug it into your PC.
Into the PC and mix it into the PC,
that's right?
Do it at that point. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, now that is a really good camera. And I noticed that also previously when I've looked at that one, it's got like a defocus on it as well. So, you know, you can...
Not so much. So all it is that because the sensor has got a fairly, or the lens rather, has got a fairly narrow depth of field, you can just use it like you would a normal SLR from that point of view. So you can set your iris to be really large, and then it's going to have a fairly small depth of field. It does do that defocus just naturally in the optics.
Yes,
so it's not electronic.
No, that's right. And I've seen that, and that looks really nice. You know what I mean? It's just a nice, soft kind of blur.
Yeah, and you don't get those like weird edges that you get when it's done digitally. It's done properly. Yeah.
No, that's awesome. What else do we need to know about the range of PTZ Optics?
Not too much, really. I think that's
we've covered everything.
Yeah. I guess actually some things that are coming is there's an online, studio type scenario, not scenario, but like a software package which is called Hive.
Okay.
So it's quite new for us. I've been talking with Paul Richards about it. So
Paul Richards.
Of course.
I love that guy. He
loves the camera.
But he's very good. He's very good. He loves being in front of the camera. He loves being behind the camera. He loves talking about cameras. He is a guru, and all things cameras and NDI, he is amazing.
Yeah.
He's written a couple of books. I love him. He's an amazing guy.
So he reached out to me like I think it was last week. To say, hey, let's get you up to speed on this. And I didn't have the time, so that's going to be a next week thing. Yes. Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, he has forgotten more than I know. Right?
It's amazing actually that I like to think I know a reasonable amount about these cameras, and I'm always amazed when someone like Paul, who he looks like a sales guy, and he comes across as a sales guy, but he knows how to make it work.
So super technical.
Yes. Yeah. So it's always fun to hang out with Paul as well.
Yes.
Unfortunately, I haven't seen him for a few years. But it's always fun.
Yeah. No, he's a really good guy. Super knowledgeable, and then that's the support behind. They're the kind of people that are at PTZ Optics, right? You know, they know their stuff. It's not just another box, another camera.
No, it's definitely not. Yeah. They spend a lot of time and effort in the development of the cameras, of the firmware. There's a few other guys there that are part of that team, and they are very hardcore. Yeah. No, that's awesome. So, in Australia, if people are interested in PTZ Optics cameras, they head to MadisonAV.com.au.
Right, perfect. Right, and they can also obviously, was it PTZOptics.com? I'm guessing.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they can go straight to PTZ Optics
there, and they get all the details. Or they could contact yourself. Right, you'll be able to help them out.
I can definitely do that.
Fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, you can get us on the phone 1-800-007-780.
Too easy.
Yeah.
Too easy. Well, these are very nice cameras and have an excellent range, and I love that they're all on the network, utilising the infrastructure that we typically have in a business. And this is fantastic. Cameron, thank you so much for your time.
No worries, Pete.
If you want more info, as I said, hit Cameron up or head to MadisonAV.com.au.